I love it. I love it. I love it. Look at this. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Hey, I'm not surprised.
My homies, what's poppin', man? You know when you hear the sound of the lighter? Yeah, you're tuning in, man. Let's go. Alright, we've got KG taking on Cannonier. Really decent main event. And as always, there's a bunch of decent matchups underneath that main event too. UFC 265 was an absolute massacre. It was a massacre betting wise. The only bet I got wrong was Carolina. And despite winning like every single bet that I placed after that, still kinda hurts, man, because you see Carolina crying. Yeah, man, that one sucks, but yeah, still a massacre. UFC 265, it was a massacre. So yeah, as always, homies, drop a head kick on the like button or use your own techniques. Alright, let's break them down. Oh my goodness. I didn't know we would have to spark up straight away. I didn't know. Guys, the reason we have to spark up straight away, most of you probably already got the idea on why. Abdul Razak Alhassan. This man has been sent to the Shadow Realm. And then when he got back from the Shadow Realm, Jacob Malkoun basically mauled him and sent him back there. Abdul Razak Alhassan, this guy is a KO artist. He can knock you dead. But he had that weird point in his career where he had some time off. I'm not going to go into why. But when he got back, completely different guy. Now, despite being a completely different guy and he's lost his last three, he's fighting a jiu-jitsu guy who's also been inactive. You know what I'm saying? So, man, you've got to spark up because it's like you don't want to pick Razak Alhassan. You don't want to take him. He seems like a different guy, just a shell of his former self. But when you've got a jiu-jitsu guy who's inactive, who has to basically take down Alhassan to win, you kind of start to think, am I going to pick Razak Alhassan? Am I going to do it? Guys, I'm going to do it, man. I'm going to pick Razak Alhassan to maybe show up for like 60 seconds and get a KO. Do I feel good about making that prediction? No, I don't, and that's why I sparked up. But we're going to check the odds on this one. I'll put Alhassan minus 150. And the actual odds, we've got Alhassan minus 120. Yeah, alright, that's my first prediction, man. I'm gonna take Alhassan. Alright, next matchup, we've got Cortney Casey taking on Liana Jojua. So the way I basically see this matchup, guys, Cortney Casey has way more experience than Liana Jojua. But if you're looking at who's the prospect in the UFC, I'd say it's Liana. But despite being a prospect, she hasn't exactly shown that level. You know, she's lost a couple times. And despite losing to good competition in Miranda Maverick, the way she lost that fight, it wasn't great. She basically looked like Voldemort. You know, she had her nose taken clean off. It was a nasty elbow. Now, is Cortney Casey going to open up your face in that type of manner? Probably not. But Cortney Casey has a lot of experience. You know, she's a good calf kicker, good movement, pretty quick. The boxing has improved over time. And although she has been out-grappled here and there, she's got the armbar off her back. You never feel extremely great about taking Cortney Casey. But here in this situation, I do think she's got enough experience to outclass Liana Jojua. So yeah, that's going to be my prediction here. Probably a decision for Cortney Casey. And my numbers, I'd put Cortney at least a minus 180. And we've got Cortney Casey minus 200. So yeah, not the greatest line, not the worst line. It's kind of in the ballpark. Yeah, I'll take Cortney Casey. Alright, moving into a matchup between Roosevelt Roberts and Ignacio Bahamondes. Really decent matchup. You know, when Roosevelt Roberts got to the UFC, we basically looked at this guy as a good prospect. But Kevin Kroom kind of took that away from him, right? Steamrolled him real quick. I know Jim Miller handed him a submission loss prior to that, but Jim Miller's a veteran. right? You kinda brush it off. You say, okay. But then when Kevin Kroom done that, yeah, Roosevelt Roberts, he's got to do something here. But the problem is the opponent is pretty good. Ignacio Bahamondes lost his UFC debut. But we kind of look at this guy as a prospect too. You know, you see that kicking side of his game. The kicks are definitely his main weapon. But Roosevelt Roberts is a pretty good kicker too. So yeah, the kickboxing in this matchup, it's going to be really beautiful to watch. Now, the one area that I do believe could be the difference, Roosevelt Roberts choosing to grapple. You know, you see that Spider-Man choke. Who remembers that Spider-Man choke against Daryl Horcher? You know, really nasty. And then he got a rear naked choke against Brock Weaver. You know, so if Roosevelt chooses to grapple, he could win this matchup. You know, so it would be a smart idea for Roosevelt Roberts to take down Ignacio. And even if he is in a kickboxing situation, the matchup may play out pretty close. So yeah, my prediction, guys, I'm going to stick with Roosevelt Roberts. It's not like a 10 out of 10 confident prediction. And that's because Ignacio Bahamondes, this guy is a prospect too. But I'll side with Roosevelt Roberts. My numbers are keeping pretty close. I'd put Roosevelt -120, Ignacio +110. It's close to a 50-50 matchup, but if I had to lean 60-40, yeah, the answer would be Roosevelt. If you're going to bet on this matchup, man, good luck. Either side, good luck. It should be a good one. Alright, my homies, we've got Martinez taking on Jesse Strader. Let's be completely honest, guys. This matchup here, it's a contender series matchup. You know, Martinez, 8 wins, 2 losses. Jesse Strader, 5 wins, 2 losses. You would see this matchup on a Tuesday night. So if that doesn't kind of explain to you, don't put too many eggs in one basket, I don't know what will. Yeah, Martinez didn't really have a good time on the contender series. Draco Rodriguez, he did, right? He got to the UFC after winning that fight. Triangle choke. Now, Jesse Strader got absolutely obliterated in his UFC debut. And man, I actually took a long shot on Jesse Strader. And it was just so far away. He got obliterated, what can I say? But Jesse Strader, man, he does rip to the body. He is pretty tough. Not really what you saw against Montel Jackson, though. You know, he got hit clean like 3 or 4 times. And out of those 4 times that he got hit clean, he went down to a couple of them. And those pictures kind of stick in your head. Especially when you see Martinez dropping guys before the contender series. So that's what you've got here. You kind of picture Martinez getting a TKO. But then you see what Jesse Strader was doing prior to the UFC debut. With the body shots, walking forward. And man, it's just one of these fights that I don't think you should bet on. I could be completely wrong. And Martinez just goes in there, connects one time, and Jesse Strader goes down the way he did against Montel Jackson. But I'm going to stick with the guy I took a long shot on. I'm going to stick with Jesse Strader. But yeah, for all the homies betting against me on this one, taking Martinez on the money line. I wish you luck, man, because I'm not going to bet on Jesse Strader. My numbers are keeping real close. -110 each. Maybe -120 on Martinez. And you've got Martinez touching -2. Yeah, I disagree, guys. I disagree. It's a contender series matchup, man. Anything can happen in this one. Alright, guys, we've got Malecki taking on Josiane Nunes. Now, on UFC 265, my only wrong predictions were the female matchups. If I actually got those female matchups right, it would have been a full card. Man, I just have to be honest. I'm not great at predicting women's MMA. I'm just not good at doing it. I watch tape on it. I try to make my reads. I try to look at the hunger side of the game, the mental side of the game. Everything I do with women's MMA capping is the same as the men's side, but it just doesn't work out that way for me. I'm not great at doing it, man. And I'm not afraid to say it. Now, I have watched tape on this. I do see flaws in Josiane Nunes' game. She's been stuck on her back a couple times. She gets tired. She's plotting forward. Pretty hittable. even though I see that side of her game and it's all negative, there is a positive. You know, she kind of likes to fight. She will walk forward. She wants to get close, land her big punches. Now, Malecki is way taller, way longer. So if she keeps her at a distance, yeah, she's going to win this matchup. And maybe if Josiane Nunes gets close, Malecki is still the more violent fighter. Maybe she's landing knees and elbows, right? Guys, I'm just not great at predicting women's MMA. I'm going to predict that Josiane Nunes is the winner. I think if she keeps getting close to Malecki, landing big punches, maybe that's the result of each round. And you know, maybe you guys are seeing Malecki as the real play. And the fact that I'm bad at women's MMA and I'm picking Josiane Nunes, maybe that's a confirmation, right? I'm obviously not going to put money on Josiane Nunes. I'm not going to put money on Malecki. What I'm going to do is sit back and basically laugh at my prediction or be surprised that I capped it right. I'm going to take Josiane Nunes despite seeing a few flaws in her game. She does seem to be the bigger puncher. My numbers on this one, I keep them real close, -110 each. And when I give you guys my numbers, it's just how I see the fight. I'm not confident either way. That's how I see it. And the actual numbers, we've got Malecki -140, Josiane Nunes +120. It's nice to see that the line is pretty close. You know, at least that agrees with me, right? It's a no bet for me. No way. Alright, we've got Ramiz Brahimaj taking on Sasha Palatnikov. Guys, in my scouting report of this matchup, pick'em central. You know, really a 50-50 matchup. You look at the work that Ramiz Brahimaj was doing prior to the UFC, taking down every opponent. You know, he's using that grappling and you're seeing him as a grappler. But then he gets his debut against Max Griffin, looks for no takedowns and basically loses an ear because of that. You know, who remembers that? The ear hanging off. Oh my God, nasty. So if I had to guess what Ramiz Brahimaj is going to do this time, I think he's going to go back to what got him to the UFC. He's going to look for takedowns. Now the opponent, Sasha Palatnikov, this guy isn't exactly bad. You know? He had a big underdog win against Kosi in his UFC debut. And then he got Impa Kasanganai, which, you know, that one didn't go too well. For me personally, guys, I'm going to side with Ramiz Brahimaj. I just hope that Ramiz Brahimaj chooses to use the takedowns. You know, you don't want to stand and trade. You might lose the other one, you know? So yeah, my numbers on this one, I'll take Ramiz Brahimaj -140. And we've got Ramiz -120, Sasha +100. Yeah, it's in the ballpark. Really close line and rightfully so. Alright guys, we've got Guida taking on Marco Madsen. Now initially I was leaning towards Marco Madsen. He's a pretty good wrestler. But that's because when you see Guida's name, you don't really picture a win. You know, he's been around for a long time. He's got over 50 pro fights. But he's taken a lot of damage. He's a beatable guy if you're a prospect. Now Marco Madsen is a prospect. 6-time Olympic medalist when it comes to Greco-Roman wrestling. Yeah, Marco Madsen, 2 wins, 0 losses inside the UFC. I've taken him in both of those matchups too. But man, one thing I did notice, he slowed down a lot against Austin Hubbard. And if you slow down against Guida and you can't get those takedowns, let's say he can't get them, yeah, there's a chance he's going to lose the striking. Marco Madsen hasn't really fought against any adversity yet. The only adversity he's come up against was getting tired. And even when he got tired, he still got those positions against Austin Hubbard. Like I said, guys, initially I was taking Marco Madsen. But man, I think Guida might shock some people. If Marco Madsen slows down the way he did before, don't be shocked. So yeah, that's going to be my prediction. I'm going to take Guida, the veteran, the legend, the OG. My numbers though, man, I'm going to keep them real close. I'll put Guida I'll put him -120. Marco Madsen +110. And we've got Marco Madsen minus 160. Clay Guida plus 130. You know, if Marco Madsen gets the suplexes, the body lock takedowns over and over and over, it's a bad read on my part. But I'm going to take the OG in this one. Alright, moving into Luis Saldana taking on Austin Lingo. Man, 50-50. In my scouting report, it's 50-50. I like the experience of Luis Saldana. He's got over 20 pro fights. Against Jordan Griffin, I took him in that matchup, man, and it was way too close. He was taken down by Jordan Griffin. Now, if a guy like Jordan Griffin's going to take you down, Austin Lingo may just do the same thing. And that's not to say that Austin Lingo is the next Khabib, the next Marco Madsen with the Olympic medals. But you see that Austin Lingo's a pretty hard worker. You know, training out of Fortis MMA. You can see he's going to go for those takedowns. And like I said, if Jordan Griffin can do it, you kind of see Austin Lingo having some success. But then you look at the experience of Austin Lingo. Hasn't even got 10 pro fights. Luis Saldana has 20. Over 20. Yeah, I'm seeing positives on both sides. But ultimately what I'm seeing, no bet. I'm going to side with Luis Saldana. I like his striking. I like his experience. But Austin Lingo may cause some problems. So yeah, guys, that's going to be my prediction. I'll take Luis Saldana. Just not super confident, man. My numbers, I'll put Luis minus 130. Austin Lingo plus 100. And we've got Luis Saldana minus 150. Austin Lingo returning plus 120, plus 130. It's not the worst line. It's not the worst because if it stays kickboxing, Luis Saldana all day. But it's going to go to the mat too, man. It's a difficult one. Alright guys, Vince Pichel taking on Austin Hubbard. Really decent matchmaking. Let's start with Vince Pichel. This guy's a veteran. He's been around mixed martial arts for some time. He understands the game of mixed martial arts. And in all credit to Vince Pichel, man, he's done some good things in the UFC. He's a tough-nosed guy. He's going to keep walking forward, looking for takedowns, looking for top control. Yeah, Vince Pichel, man. He made it to the highest level. Now, Austin Hubbard hasn't been the best in the UFC so far, trading wins and losses. Literally, like a yo-yo. You can go check it, man. Win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. But I do see evolution in Austin Hubbard. He is becoming more difficult to hold down. The jab against Dakota Bush, you know, it looked really nice. So if he can somehow keep Vince Pichel from getting those takedowns, and he can keep it in that kickboxing situation, Austin Hubbard may score some points. Now, if you had to ask yourself, does Austin Hubbard have good takedown defense? Is he going to be able to stay on the feet? The answer would probably be no if you went and watched all of his fights. But man, it's kind of difficult to hold him down. Marco Madsen is a 6-time Olympic wrestler, and he was basically holding on for dear life. So yeah, man, Vince Pichel's going to attempt the takedowns, but I'm not too sure it's going to happen. And you can see there's an age difference too. Vince Pichel closing in, getting closer to 40 years old. Austin Hubbard only 29 years old. I'm going to take Austin Hubbard to break the pattern of win-loss, win-loss. If he can keep this one standing, it's his to win. So yeah, I'm going to take Austin Hubbard. My numbers, I'd put Austin Hubbard around minus 140. Vince Pichel is going to come with those takedowns, and Austin has to be prepared. And we've got Austin Hubbard plus 100, plus 110. The veteran Vince Pichel getting the respect, the minus. Yeah, I just think it's Austin's time now. So that's going to be my prediction on this one. Alright, my homies, you know what time it is. If you waited to smoke with me, amen. If you've been smoking this whole time, double amen. If you're not a smoker but you enjoy the smoke breaks, triple amen, gang. Let's go. I love saying that, man. I love doing that little intro to the smoke breaks. Feels so right, so traditional with the channel. Hey, I hope all of you guys are doing blessed, doing well. having a great day, having a great week. So before I get into the smoke break and all of that, my Instagram, UFC Lay, my Patreon. Guys, massive shout out to all 72 of my Patreons. You know, last card I said, I wish it could have been a good one. We took Rafa Garcia. There's a flip side. There's always a flip side to everything. So, although I couldn't say it was good last time, this time I could say it was about perfect. As close to perfect as you could get before it's perfect. And the most satisfying thing about UFC 265, it was high volume. You know, it wasn't one bet or two bets. It was like 6. So yeah, man, really grateful. Amen to all of you guys. I've got a couple things to mention. One exciting piece of news that I do want to mention. When you get to 10,000 subscribers, guys, not only is it a great moment to say thank you to your people, to admire the milestone that you achieved, not only is it a great moment, but YouTube then says to you, hey, you got 10,000 subscribers. You can do some merchandise if you want. And to be honest, guys, kind of want to do that. So UFC 266, I'm probably going to have, it's not 100% because I have to find the right designer, get my ideas all right. But I want smoke break merchandise. I want Amen merchandise. And if I can get it all sorted, UFC 266 is when that's going to be. So yeah, I'm really excited to bring that to the smoke break. 2 pieces of information for the smoke break topic that I want to mention. I've mentioned the first one several times on my channel. And I'm going to mention it for the rest of my channel. You know, I'm always going to mention this. Purpose. Everyone has purpose in life. Everybody has a purpose. Purpose is the meaning of life. And every single living being has this. Usually to find your purpose, you kind of think about what makes you the happiest. Right? What does your soul want the most? For me personally, guys, just to give you like an insight into my purpose. Growing up as a kid, and this is another thing that I want to mention. You can normally find your purpose if you go back to your childhood. Well, it worked that way for me anyway, right? Growing up as a kid, I was the biggest fan. Like the biggest fan, man, of WWF. And then one day it changed to WWE. And that blew my mind, man. It completely shook my world. And my dad had to explain to me, like, there's some animals and... Right, it changed to WWE, right? Growing up as a kid, man, I was so obsessed with World Wrestling Entertainment. I was so obsessed with it. My mum used to buy the VHS tapes to record, like, the pay-per-views. At one point, I even went into school. You know, year 4, year 5. I went into school with the belt. Yeah, I thought I was the champion. You know, that's how obsessed I was with WWE. And later on in life, when I get to like 19, 20, I realised, man, the adult version of what I loved the most as a kid is mixed martial arts. You know, so for me, man, my purpose in life is to be completely engrossed with mixed martial arts. That's what I love the most. Now, to some people, man, if you hear someone say MMA is their life, it might be a little bit sad. But here's the thing. What makes you the happiest, what your purpose is, it doesn't need to sound good or great to anyone else. That's the great thing about your purpose in life. So yeah, man, finding your purpose, maybe look at your childhood. Look at what made you the happiest. We all have purpose. So find your purpose. And you have to do that, man. That's your meaning. And we all have that. So amen to that, guys. Now I kind of want to mention one more thing, but I realise the smoke break's getting a little bit long. So I'm going to just mention it. I'm going to make that the topic on the next smoke break. So yeah, guys, amen to the topic. Amen to the merchandise that I can hopefully bring. Amen to the Patreons. Amen to the whole gang. Let's get into breaking down this main card. Alright, my homies, we've got Chase Sherman taking on Parker Porter. Yeah, not a bad heavyweight matchup. The way I see this matchup, Chase Sherman has way more experience. He even went over to bare knuckle boxing to get some experience boxing people with no gloves. I'm not sure he primarily chose to do that, but yeah, he's back in the UFC now. He had a good start with his debut back to the UFC, but then he came up against Andrei Arlovski, where he lost that matchup. Despite losing that matchup, it was pretty close, and it potentially came down to the last round. But Andrei Arlovski, being the veteran that he is, landing that calf kick over and over. When I'm thinking about ways that Parker Porter's going to win this matchup, there's not many that I'm thinking about. He could potentially catch Chase Sherman, knock him out. I don't see Parker Porter getting takedowns. And I don't see him technically beating Chase Sherman in a kickboxing situation. So yeah, on this one, I'm leaning more towards the vanilla gorilla. So that's going to be my prediction. I'll take Sherman purely because he has more experience. I want to say decision, but there's a good chance that there's a stoppage, especially at heavyweight. My numbers, I'd put Chase Sherman at least a minus 200. And we've got Sherman minus 180. Parker Porter plus 150. Yeah, Parker Porter just hasn't shown me enough. You know, not yet. He was lucky that... I can't remember the name of his last opponent. Was it Jared Vanderaa? I think it was Jared Vanderaa. I'm just going to check, man, because that's going to bug me if I don't check. No, it's Jared Vanderaa, a guy who looks like Jared Vanderaa. It was Josh Parisian. Josh Parisian gassed out real bad. You know, I don't think Chase Sherman's going to gas out, which means Parker Porter's going to be in a more difficult contest. Yeah, I prefer Sherman. Alright, moving into William Knight taking on Fabio Cherant. It's not too far off a Contender Series matchup. It's not too far. So William Knight, this guy seems to be a powerhouse. The low kicks are damaging. The grappling is pretty okay. But there's one question you have to ask yourself with William Knight. Is his conditioning good enough? Is his cardio good enough? Now, when you see the fight against Alexa Kamer, you see him go a hard 15 minutes. But man, I've got to be honest. I think William Knight does have cardio issues if you can bring it out of him. You know, and we're looking at Fabio Cherant thinking, is Fabio Cherant going to be the guy to bring out that I've got a lot of muscle to slow down type of frame? Probably not, because Fabio Cherant has the same thing. This guy has a lot of muscle too. The right fighter can bring that out of Fabio Cherant too. This is a really decent matchup between two powerhouses. I'm going to side with William Knight. And one reason why I want to side with William Knight, he went 15 minutes with Jung and he was getting the brakes beaten off of him. And he didn't quit. I like William Knight's heart. I think he wins this matchup. My numbers, I'm putting William around minus 190. It's got to be close to minus 2. And we've got William Knight minus 220 up to minus 240. Fabio Cherant closing in at plus 200. Yeah, a lot of respect for William Knight. Can't really disagree with it. Alright, we've got Brian Kelleher taking on Domingo Pilarte. So let's start with Brian Kelleher. This guy has way more experience than Domingo. This will be his 35th pro fight, whereas Domingo has only stepped inside the octagon 10 times. But there is something that Domingo Pilarte has that he seems to always have. He's always taller and longer than the opponent. But if you're Brian Kelleher and you've had over 30 pro fights, you've figured out how to deal with a guy who's taller and longer. You don't see that against Montel Jackson. You know, Montel Jackson caught Brian Kelleher with a shocking strike, you know, put him down. But Domingo Pilarte, I don't see him doing it. I don't see him doing that to Brian Kelleher. Whether Brian Kelleher chooses to get close, grapple up against the fence, take down Domingo, or even try to beat him to the body getting close. I think Brian Kelleher just has way too much experience for a guy like Domingo. So yeah, man, I've got to side with the boom, Brian Kelleher. My numbers, -180 on Brian Kelleher. And the actual numbers, -160. The +150 does look kinda advertising for Domingo when you think about his size. But yeah, Brian Kelleher, so much experience. Gotta go with that. Alright, my homies, we've got Pantoja taking on Royval, Brandon Royval. Yeah, in my opinion, man, this is another pick'em. You know, Pantoja is a nasty guy. He's got the jiu-jitsu, the experience. The striking has evolved over time. But Brandon Royval seems to be a scrappy guy. You look at the way he chased down Kai Kamaka. You know, stayed in the face, a lot of output, scrappiness. And if you shoot in with a takedown, you know, Brandon Royval's looking to choke you out. Even if he's off his back, he's throwing up arm bars, triangles. Initially, guys, I was leaning towards the Brazilian. But I think the scrappiness inside the smaller octagon, scrappy Brandon Royval, he might have enough. I'm not going to bet on it though. You know, this is one of these spots at flyweight that you just want to watch them. You just want to watch these guys. Gun to my head though, guys, I'm going to take Brandon Royval. The scrambles, the scrappiness, I'm a fan of it. And I think this is the first time that I'm picking Brandon Royval. You know, he's kind of won me over a little bit in his UFC career. But yeah, man, Brandon Royval, he's got something. And I think if he delivers here, gets scrappy in the face of Pantoja, he might win this one. My numbers though, I'm keeping them real close. I'll put these guys -110. And we've got Pantoja -160. Brandon Royval +140. Yeah, much preferring Brandon Royval. +140, I think that's off. Alright, my homies, main event. If you haven't Hamzat smashed the like button yet, please go ahead and do that. Alright, we've got Jared Cannonier taking on Kelvin Gastelum. Yeah, super sick main event. I'm gonna enjoy breaking this one down. So Jared Cannonier was fighting at heavyweight. Then he moved down to light heavyweight. And now he's at middleweight, 185, right? He's done some pretty nice work at middleweight. Cashing as a big underdog against David Branch. Beating Jack Hermansson. Beating Anderson Silva. Then he ran into a little bit of trouble with Bobby Knuckles. But man, who doesn't run into trouble with Bobby Knuckles? Unless you're Izzy, you know? But one thing I'm noticing with the opponents that Jared Cannonier has beaten at 185, and all of these guys are good in their own respect. David Branch, pure grappler, hasn't really got much to offer with the striking. Jack Hermansson likes to grapple, and is kinda uncomfortable when he's eating punches on the feet. Anderson Silva, old, past his prime, shouldn't even be in there with a guy like Jared Cannonier, a powerhouse. Now Kelvin Gastelum isn't like any of these guys that he's beaten. Kelvin Gastelum is more like Robert Whittaker. He's more like Bobby Knuckles. He wants to stand and trade. He doesn't want to just grapple. He wants to see what you can offer with the hands. Now how many guys have TKO'd Kelvin Gastelum? How many have done it? None. You know, I'm pretty good with predicting Kelvin Gastelum's matchups. I'm just going to check his record, man, and give you guys an insight, my past history with Kelvin Gastelum. Now, the Chris Weidman, I got this one wrong. But then I went on a massive streak. I took Kelvin against Bisping, against Jojua, went against Kelvin with Izzy, Darren Till and Hermansson. And then I took him against Ian Heinisch and went back against him with Robert Whittaker. So since mid-2017, I haven't got one Kelvin Gastelum prediction wrong. And I've noticed that if you look at the losses, right? Co-main event against Israel Adesanya, that's a big spot that he lost. Main card against Darren Till, that's a big spot that he lost. Co-main event against Jack Hermansson, big spot, lost. Main event against Robert Whittaker, big spot, lost. I mean, even the Chris Weidman, that was a main event, another big spot for Kelvin Gastelum, and he dropped the ball. You've got to go all the way back to China before the last time Kelvin Gastelum had a good big standout moment in his career. Guys, I'm pretty nervous with this prediction because I'm quite confident. I think Kelvin Gastelum doesn't drop the ball. He's not going to drop the ball this time. In my opinion, Cannonier has to stop this matchup if he wants to win. He's got to be the first man to stop KG. I don't see it happening. I know Cannonier is a powerhouse. You know, he's got the power to put him away. But KG's Mexican tough. You know, this guy can take your best shots, round in, round out. I think after about 7 or 8 minutes, that's where you're going to see the skill level of Kelvin rise above the power of Cannonier. Because if you take away Jared's power, what's he left with? You know, what has he got other than power? I just think KG is the right side. Most likely a decision or a late stoppage. And like I said, man, I'm quite confident with this prediction. I would even go as far to say KG minus 150. And the actual numbers, KG plus 130. Yeah, I mean, I'm scared because I'm nervous. I've gotten a lot of KG's fights correct. And with every win streak, there has to be an end to it. And that's why I'm nervous. But I feel like it's not going to happen here. It's a big spot for KG, man. He can't drop the ball on this one. Alright, my homies, drop down your parlays, all of that good stuff in the comment section. And remember, man, keep your eyes to the sky, never glued to your shoes. Mac Miller. Alright, guys. Peace.